Hello, hello, amigos. Buenas tardes, good afternoon, good evening, good morning, maybe. Thank you so much for joining today to my special for Valentine's Day, although we are no longer around the date of February 14, but I wanted to finish the month of February with some romance, making up also with the fact that I was not able to be in Lima on Valentine's Day. So I had, of course, in my agenda to make for you all something special related with romance, related with love. So once again, thank you so much for your participation today. My name is Vanessa Vasquez. Hola amigos, hello, hello. And I am your Lima City guide. I am a professional official tour guide in Lima, Peru. And today I will combine two of my favorite things. The sunset tour. Sunset, basically seeing the sunset, is one of my favorite things to do in Lima. And also talking about love and romance. So I hope you enjoy this combination and that you find it entertaining, enjoying, and also that you can, for a moment, relax, and I can bring you a smile. So because these are indeed difficult times for us all around the world. So my intention with today's tour is cheer up a little bit your spirits, and also share with you the history of my city. So, well, once again, muchas gracias for your participation. Thank you so much for coming today to Lima. And if you have a question, if you would like to know something in particular about the characters, the personalities I'm going to be talking about, please ask as many questions as you wish. I am always happy to answer. I have chosen for you 4 stories that I found being very interesting, very romantic also, of characters, of personalities that live in Lima in different times of our history. So, well, now we are going to start with this tour, and we are going also to be in the search of a sunset, because today Lima has decided to let's say to have a high humidity and also presence of clouds, like abnormally sort of like unusual for this season. There's a little bug somewhere here. So we're going to see how the sunset tour goes. So if you are ready to start this event, please let me know. There is something here around flying in circles. If you're ready to start this tour, please give me a thumbs up, give me a heart, let me know that you are there. I would love also to know if you are new to this, to my tours, if you are new to Hey Go. So please let me know it, to just give you a proper welcome into the community and welcome into my tours. So, hey, Anne, thank you, Lynn. Thanks for coming today. Muchas gracias. Thanks for your hearts. So, I think we are going to start right now. So, let's go. So, we are going now to start with this tour, and we are in one of the most famous parts of Miraflores. Some minutes ago, I finished a tour in the Kennedy Park, the Central Park of Miraflores, known as the heart of this district. Miraflores is one of the 43 districts of Lima. Lima City, the capital of Peru, has about 11 million people, and we have all kinds of districts, all kinds of realities. We have very rich, well-off districts. We have also, let's say, very poor, modest districts. We have middle-class districts. So Miraflores is considered a very exclusive district. And one of the signs of the exclusivity of this district is the presence of lots of parks. And the reason of why we think in Lima that parks are something so fancy, so exclusive, is because Lima City lays on a desert. So the city of Lima has been occupied historically by different cultures, societies, ethnic groups, especially since the arrival of the conquistadors in the 16th century. The conquistadors, the Spanish conquistadors, took this territory, conquered this territory, starting the year 1532 in the north of the country, and in the year 1535 they finally arrived to what nowadays is the valley of the city of Lima. Isabel, thank you so much. Thank you for coming also to this tour as well. Gracias. Thanks for your participation. By the way, just finished a tour focused in the kittens of the Kennedy Park, which is the central park of Miraflores, and I ran in this direction to be here right for the sunset. And here we have the sunset of today in Lima. One of the things the conquistadors were more fascinated about Lima, were fascinated about this location, was the mild climate of Lima. Lima's temperature is pretty much perfect. It's never too cold, never too hot. I just came from a trip to Argentina, to the Patagonia, and also was able to visit Iguazu. So the two extremes of that country and extremes of the temperatures too. Lima is always in a perfect, let's say around 25 degrees Celsius. So it is a fantastic climate. It never rains too much, but we have a condition that creates a veil of mystery in Lima. The clouds. Lima is a foggy city. So here we can see that the sun still is up high, so we have time for some stories. We can see also surfers. Soon I'm going to be bringing a tour about the surfers of Miraflores, so stay tuned. If you can, please follow my channel. In the upper part of your screen, you're going to see a button for following my channel to know a bit more about my upcoming tours. So the first couple we are going to talk about today is also very famous in Peru, especially the gentleman of this couple is very famous in Peru. Is known as the gentleman of the seas, Caballero de los Mares, and his presence in the history of Peru was determinant in a period of a war, the War of the Pacific, known also in Peru as the war with Chile. So the name of this gentleman is Miguel Grau Seminario. And in today's occasion, we are going to talk about another, let's say, side of the hero, of the most important hero of Peru, the most famous Peruvian hero within this territory. Miguel Grau Seminario was not just a man completely given to his nation, completely given even until his last breath to Peru and to the sovereignty of Peru. He was also a man of romantic words, and he was completely in love of his wife, Dolores Cabero Núñez. They were so in love that they had 10 children together. So you can imagine how much love Mr. Miguel Grau had for his wife. And this man was a person recognized in our history as an impeccable man, a man who defended the sovereignty of Peru during the time of this conflict that finally we lost, in which we lost also the hero and the myth, the legend started. But Miguel Grau, he loved so much his wife that even in the hardest hours of his life, when he was in the battlefield, when he was prepare for fighting, for facing an imminent death, he dedicated the most romantic and most beautiful letters to his wife. And there is one letter that is quite famous here in Peru, because it's one of his last letters, and in which he uses very beautiful and romantic words for his wife. And I'm going to take the time also to read this letter. The letter is, of course, originally in Spanish. I've made a translation into English, so I hope you are able to understand basically the soul of the letter. So this letter was sent from Iquique territory that nowadays belongs to Chile, but back then in that period, we're talking the year 1879, belonged to Peru. So it was May 28th of 1879. And it says, "Dearest wife, as life is precarious in general, and even more so since one is going to expose it every now and then for the sake of our country in just a war, but which will be bloody and prolonged. I don't want to go out on campaign without before getting to you through this letter with several requests. First, to beg you to grant me your forgiveness in case you believe that I had intentionally offended you. The second is to ask you to attend with great care and tenacious vigilance to the education of our beloved children. To achieve this essential assignment, I must advise you, or rather recommend you, that all the little I have left of fortune be used in giving them all the instructions that might be possible, and only inheritance that I have always wanted to leave them. There is nothing more to ask you but to take care of my children and always talk to them about their father. Your unhappy husband says goodbye with an eternal hug. Miguel." Thank you, and thanks for your tip support, my dear friend. So this letter, which was one of the very last our hero Miguel Grau sent it to his beloved wife, is not just full of love for his children, children that became very important, prominent personalities of our history. Some of them, for example, became politicians. We had also some of them that turned into consuls in other part of the world, representing Peru, painters, people that were active participants of the nation. So he just wanted to invest what he had, what the little fortune they made in the future of his children, but also he mentioned how sad he was for possibly make her sad in these terrible moments. This was a true love, one of the cases of mutual love. Not many of the characters of the stories I'm going to be sharing with you will have this, let's say, mutual love in the same way. But this is a very, very romantic story, which ends, of course, in deep sadness as finally Miguel Grau died, and due to this conflict of the war between Chile and Peru. So he finally died on October the 8th, 1879. So the story of Miguel Grau, which is the first one I'm sharing with you, is a story of love, of true love, of a couple that chosen to be together and stay together in this romantic relation for several years, until the passing of one of them. But the next story I'm going to share with you is more what we call a Platonic love. So what is a Platonic word? And by the way, my friends, this word makes sense to you. Let me know if the word Platonic love makes sense to you. So in that way, I can also, if it's not something that makes sense, I can maybe explain in detail what it means. Amor platónico in Spanish. And this concept of love started in the 19th century and became something like desire also by artists. The idea of Platonic love, a love that sometimes was not corresponded, was also the motivation for many people to create, for example, art, create music, create painting. It was sometimes the use of a muse, the reason of the creation of wonderful masterpieces. And we have now the case of another personality of our history. In this occasion, we have an artist. And you can see this gentleman over here, Victor Umareda. Victor Umareda is one of the most famous 20th century artists of our country, of Peru. He was born in a territory that is very distant from Lima, in Puno, in the high plateau. And the story of Victor Umareda is indeed a platonic love. Why? Because the love of his life was a person he was not able to meet in person. It was a person he loved. He dedicated paintings, but he was not able to meet. And that lady is actually here in the picture. Who is the person that is here in this picture, my friends? Does anyone knows the name of this person? Please let me know in the comments if you know, if you can recognize who is the person there. This lady was very, very famous, and Mr. Victor Umareda, he considered her being his muse and eventually the love of his life. So the name of this person is, anyone knows it? Just let me know it, please. And I'm going to change also some pictures. Muy bien, Dorota. Gracias, and thanks for being there, my friend. Marilyn Monroe. So Marilyn Monroe, gracias, Dorota, for your participation. Marilyn Monroe was a sex symbol, right? Of course, a sex symbol around the world. And she was let's say, beautiful, considered to be a sex goddess, right? A sexual, let's say, magnet. And the man that I am referring to in this occasion, Mr. Victor Umareda, he found her so beautiful and perfect that he made of this woman, let's say, his muse. But Victor Umareda had some issues, actually. This artist is known as one of the most important painters of Peru. He belonged to the Peruvian Expressionismo, the Expressionism of Peru. And this man was known to be as an eccentric person. So you can see here this picture. Victor Umareda lived in extreme poverty, although he was a genius. When you see his paintings, you're going to see in some of his paintings like colors like Van Gogh style. So very, very, very similar, right? So he lived in extreme poverty, in modesty. He's also pointed out to have some mental issues also. He was an extremely sensitive artist, and he lived in poverty because he said that poverty was or took the best out of him. So an artist could not be a good artist without exposing himself to the necessities, to extreme necessities, to living in modesty. Also, that's why he liked to live like that. But most likely he liked to live like that because he had also some mental issues. So he made lots of paintings dedicated to his muse, to Marilyn Monroe. This one, for example, is a sketch made by him. And his life was indeed very sad and very lonely. His friends did not met any girlfriend of him. He had never had any girlfriend, any relation. He was a man focused in his art. He said that he loved to paint women because in the moment when he was painting his models, and many of these models were naked models, he felt as he could touch them, right? So it was the closest moment for him to an intimacy with someone. But he was extremely afraid of having any relations like closer than that. So the way he died was indeed very sad. Because although he died many years after Marilyn Monroe, no, he died in the 1980s, and well, he lived actually in a period in which art, also the Impressionism in Peru, was in vogue. He died in the year 1986. The way he died was very sad because he was a very lonely person. He had to face cancer. He was a cancer survivor. He had throat cancer. But he didn't want to stop painting. He didn't want to stop doing his art because it was the only occupation he had. So the Central Bank of Peru asked him to make a painting for them. And it was actually his last painting. This painting is called the Quintajeren by Nighttime. Quintajeren is a beautiful old house located in the historic center of the city of Lima, and he lived actually there in that section, which back then was a very poor zone. So he painted this. Oh, look at the sunset, so beautiful. He painted this picture, and seems that the smells of the oils that he aspirated, he breathed during this session. He painted this painting. Let me show you, by the way, the painting is this one here. This is the last painting of Victor Umareda. And it seems that the smells of the oils he used finally created some type of poisoning. So this was the reason, the cause of his death. Hola, Francesca. I like the way the sun is reflecting the weather. Yes, Francesca, that's why I'm just here, like, not able to show you any more pictures because the sunset today is marvelous. I did not believe that this sunset would be this beautiful today, but wow, the Pachamama today has given us a beautiful closure of the day. So this is the story of Victor Umareda and Marilyn Monroe. And there is another story I want to share with you. And now we are going to continue in direction to a famous park. It is the the Love Park. I came from Kennedy Park. The Love Park of Miraflores. And in the Love Park of Miraflores, there's also another romantic story I want to share with you. Also, in this sunset moment, we have lots of surfers that are, let's say, taking advantage of the last waves. Let me just show you briefly the last, hour of waves of, let's say, entertainment for them outside in the ocean. And also we can see the last hour for the parasailers. Parasailing is one of the activities you can do here in Lima. What is the time out there, Debra? It is 6:22. So until let's say the last lights of the sun, usually people do this sport, because by nighttime it's not safe, of course, to do it. So this might be the last flies we will have today of parasailing, for parasailing. And next to this section, this official, let's say, landing and also takeoff spot for practicing this fun sport, we have the Park of Love. You can see also how the sun is completely red. The pre-Hispanic societies use the red color to symbolize the sun. Well, in other parts of the world, the yellow color usually is connected with the sun. But the pre-Hispanic societies, the Incas, and many other societies of Peru use the red as the color that symbolized the sun. So why? Some archaeologists, some historians believe that this is the reason, because you can see that around the sun there is a reddish color, which is very, very typical in this latitude to see, especially in my country, to see. So that's possibly why red was in Peru connected with the sun, and yellow connected with the moon. So there are many pre-Hispanic temples that are painted in both colors, symbolizing the union of the sun and the moon, the couple creator of the world. Without the sun and the moon, life would not be possible in the pre-Hispanic times. And we are the children of that eternal union, the sun and the moon, the union of the red and the yellow. And as we continue walking, soon we're going to be in the Parque del Amor. Parque del Amor is a famous zone for couples in love, for people that are looking for a fun, relaxing, could be afternoon, could be evening, with the family, with the ones they love. And sometimes if they want to celebrate a special occasion, there is no other better place than this one. So we can see also lots of couples here, lots of friends, and now that the restrictions related with COVID are ceasing, they are being stopped little by little, people are starting to come out to reconnect with the sun. And well, we might think that this is something we do nowadays because, well, young people now want to have a reconnection with the ocean, with the nature, but not really. Actually, the pre-Hispanic societies in the coast of Peru, they had a very close connection with the Mother Earth, with the Mother Ocean, and in the colonial times, the Spanish and descendants of the Spaniards, and we're going to look for a nice view of the sun, so just give me a moment, they also consider this section, the seafront, a very romantic location. And we know this because thanks to the different documents and chronicles from the colonial times, the colonial period. So in this moment, I'm going to continue with another romantic story. But this story is, of course, of love, of mutual love, of love that was corresponded, but a love that was impossible. And I have two stories, this one and the next one, related with impossible love. In the case of this one, is the story of the Viceroy Amat, Manuel Amat y Juliet, and a back then very famous actress, the Perricholi, also known as the lady, the lady of the arts, the lady of the acting of those days. Micaela Villegas. So Micaela Villegas, or La Perricholi, became one of the most famous characters of the 18th century of Lima. And the reason is because she, a very young lady in her early 20s, had a romance with a mature viceroy. And this is a painting of the beautiful Perricholi, Micaela Villegas, in her early years. So beautiful. We can imagine her being very attractive. And as she was, of course, an actress, of course, she had all the attention of all type of men, rich, poor, young, elderly. But if you were, let's say, a ambitious woman, the only attention you would be interested in would be the one of the viceroy. And here we have Mr. Manuel Amat y Juniet, the viceroy, one of the viceroys of Peru. And this gentleman, who was, of course, the most powerful man of those days, fell in love immediately of the beauty and the youth of the Perricholi. Of course, why I'm saying this name, Perricholi, what does it mean? Perricholi actually was a nickname that was given to her by the viceroy. But there are many stories, many traditions that point out to how come the viceroy called her like this and what that name means. Also, first of all, Perricholi comes from two words, Perri from perra or she dog, and Choli from chola. From chola was an indigenous woman, right? So that is a deceiving name, right? Both of them. So the story, the most famous story about the name Perricholi, the birth of that name, says that the viceroy and his lover, they had a fight in the house of the viceroy next to the main square of Lima. And well, it was such a terrible fight. Everybody, of course, was attentive. All the servants were attentive to those fights because they were epic. So in one occasion, well, when the fight was very, very heat up, the viceroy called her Perra Chola, right? But he was not from Madrid originally. He was from a territory that nowadays we call as Catalonia, right? So the accent of the viceroy was very harsh, very strong, right? So the way how it sounded was Perricholi, right? So this is why the name of this woman was switched by that nickname. So the Perricholi is known as one of the most famous characters of the history of Peru, and the romance was epic. And in this place we were able to see the sunset. They met, hiding, of course, from the public view, from the people of downtown Lima. In this location, they were together, isolated from the sight of anybody, because this part of the city, we know by the chronicles of that time, was the place where they in secret met, here in the Love Park, and this is historic fact. So you can see, by the way, at the time of the sunset, we've just been able to see some parasailers that are going to, in a little while, start their fly up in the skies. So the Park of Love, which is the place where we are, just let me give you a view of this section over here. Look at the Park of Love, Parque del Amor. It's all covered with tiles. And a very famous place. Actually, many people say that it looks very, very similar to Park Güell in Barcelona. Park Güell, made by Gaudi. Mm? Probably yes, there are some similarities, but the artist who made this park, a famous artist called named Victor Delfin, he is still, by the way, producing art. He's a very active artist. He has his studio in Barranco. You can also follow him in the social media, in Instagram, in Facebook. He was the person who, in the year 1993, created this park and made it look possibly a little bit like in the Güell style, but he said that he did not copy the Güell style. It was something that just came to his mind, using these styles, using these flowers, using these phrases of love that you can see here. And many of these phrases, for example, says, todo lo guardo en mis ojos. All, I keep it, I save it in my eyes. So these are love phrases taken from poems, taken from books, or sayings that are popular among us. So people come to this park to to just have a romantic moment with the ones they love, to borrow one of these poems and recite them to the people, to the person they love the most. So we are now getting closer to the section where the surfers are. I would like to show you how the surfing is practiced in this section until even this time after sunset. It is 6:35 in the afternoon. And we can see that although we have the last rays of sun in the distance, the reddish rays of the sun in the distance, we have surfers that are enjoying the ocean. Of course, using neoprene, using wetsuits, because the water here is very cold, around 14 degrees Celsius, so it's quite cold. So here I'm going to finish these stories of romance of Lima, a latest special of Valentine's Day, with the most famous romantic story of all. This story is about, once again, love, mutual love, a love that was not possible. In this case, because of the difference of color, the difference of social status. In the case of Micaela Villegas and the Viceroy Amat and Juliet, they came from different, let's say, social status, and that's why they were not able to marry, although they love each other very much. Finally, they had to be separated. And Mr. Manuel Amat, he married finally in Spain. Possibly Arpero Choli was very sad after hearing the news that he married in Spain with another woman. But in this case, this other story, which part of it is a myth, a legend. Gracias, Micaela. Thank you so much. Muchas gracias for your tip support. Part of this story is a legend. Part of this story is also a reality. We don't know exactly the names of the characters, the full names of them, but some stories they are kept thanks to the word of mouth. And the story I'm going to tell you is the story that nowadays has survived. In this story, it happened in the 18th century. It was the 1700s. And it was a time of big divisions, social divisions in the world, in Lima. And we had a family back then, very rich, very wealthy, of Spanish descendants, who had a beautiful daughter. The daughter of this family was called Clara. So, unfortunately, Clara lost her mother, so it was necessary for the father to find for her a nanny, a maiden dedicated to the little girl. So he found a black woman to become the nanny of Claire. This lady had a son, which was just 3 years older than Claire. They grew up as brother and sister, but eventually the years passed and that brotherly love changed into something different, into something way more beautiful and way more complicated. It turned into real love. So, unfortunately, the story is not turning into a good direction because remember, he was black, she was white. And here the story is not very clear. We know that the father discovered their relation. We don't know if she was pregnant. Some stories mention that she was, some other don't. But we know that indeed they were able to prove each other their love. So the father of Claire decided that this was too shameful for this family, and he decided to send Claire to a nunnery and him to a convent. So they maintain a relation through letters. When the father realized that there were letters between them, he decided to send Claire to Spain to finish this relation forever. So the nanny of Claire, which still was in communication with her, she mentioned to Claire that the day that she will be going in direction to Spain on a ship, Francisco, her lover, will be waiting for her on the cliff. So she awaited for that moment with her heart in one hand. She was so afraid of seeing him for the last time. And when that happened, she was on the ship and he escaped actually from the convent. He was awaiting for her on the cliff, dressed up as a monk. You can imagine the ship of Claire in the distance. She looking at him, he looking at her. He started to wave his hands, saying, "Goodbye, my love." She saw him and he also saw when he jumped to the sea. So here you have a representation that is done in one zone of Lima called Chorrillos by actors who jumped representing this tragic story, the jump of the friar. When Claire saw her love jumping to the ocean, she couldn't resist, knowing that she would be this lonely forever. She would not be able to be with him and that he was gone. So she decided to suicide. And they both united on the sea as a Romeo and Juliet. This is the story of the jump of the friar. They were not able to be together. They were forbidden to be together, to love each other. But eternity was the only home they found to be together. So here I'm coming to the end of this tour in the Park of Love. And you have one of the most romantic statues of Lima. The statue made by the artist Victor Delfin, in which you can see him and his wife in this eternal kiss. This representation was made in the year 1993, especially for the park, and Victor Delfin and his wife will be forever young, kissing here in this park. What a romantic gesture of love. Gracias, Michaela. Thank you so much for coming to Lima again. Thanks to you all for participating of this tour, of this visit. It's been very special for me to have you again in Lima. I've been away for several weeks traveling to Argentina. I am preparing also a series of tours dedicated to my trip in Argentina. I made a lot of videos. I recorded a lot of videos to share with you how was the experience in the Chilean and Argentinian Patagonia and in Iguazu Falls. So for those that want to know how it is traveling there, I hope this information will be useful for you all. And well, many things have happened in the world since I've been away. So I've been looking forward to have you in this occasion. I was counting the days, the hours to be here with you. I hope you enjoy this tour. This is possibly the last tour of Valentine's of February. And thanks a lot for your participation. Thanks for your support, my friends. Your support is helping me and also helping Hego, because although we use the word tip for a payment done aside, this is the only income we get here, the guides and also Hego. And the tips help this platform to keep running, to be existing. So thanks for your support. And here my friend Michaela has shared my Hego link. If you would like to follow me, you can copy that link, put it in your Google search tool, or you can also, there's a button, so far I know, in the upper part where you can follow me also. And I want to share with you some information about me. I have also a Facebook group, so let me show you this one here. I have a Facebook group. I have also an Instagram. I have a YouTube channel. And if you would like to follow me there, that would be super fantastic. You are very much welcome to follow all my social media. If you want to ask me a question over there, please, we can get in touch at any time. These are extremely difficult times for the world, and my only wish was bringing you some enjoyment, some, let's say, an opportunity for resting, an opportunity for relaxing. These are difficult times for especially our guides in Kiev, in Ukraine. So if you have the chance of following them and also supporting them, that would be super in these moments, because they are really needing us. I am sending love to them, praying for them. So I know that prayers can be very helpful. Good wishes can be very helpful, can be a way of protection also for the ones we love. So thank you so much for coming today. Best to you all, and well, take care. See you soon. See you tomorrow, maybe in the tours dedicated to the Carnival of Latin America. We're going to be doing something really nice with Renan and Sayuri. So you are all invited. Take care, my friends. Lots of love from your friend in Lima, Peru. See you soon. Bye-bye. Muchas gracias. So I'm going to leave you with this beautiful picture of the statue of the kiss of the love park. Until next time. Bye-bye.